Another name for a moorhen is a swamp chicken. And it has been said that the canals are swamp and ditch-like.
There's perch in there as well.
We've got ditch plants growing out of the fender. Get a lot of harvestmen in the ditches. That looks good. So I've been thinking about the fact that I live in a ditch, and I've done some really interesting research which I think is going to explain how I've ended up here. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll see you around, Tony. It's been lovely meeting you. So lovely. Something that worries me about today's travelling in the ditch, and that is meeting another boat coming the other way, because it's so shallow at the moment and it's very narrow. So if I meet a boat coming the other way, I would like to be polite and let them come past, but I might get grounded. Currently on the UK inland waterways, drought conditions have restricted and closed this many navigations. We're here on the Lancaster Canal, where we're allowed to move, but we have to stay in the middle of the cut. So I'm going to try to move a short distance today to a very exciting place. I want to get right out into the middle. Roger, before he passed away, started looking into our family tree, and he wrote down a load of names, and he went back on both sides of my family, and I started looking closely at the jobs that they did way back to my great grandfather. I feel completely at home in the ditches. It's not a glamorous life. And things are not always easy. I've come in the boat because engine cut out and there's smoke. But I feel connected somehow to these waterways, and finally I think I've found out why. So I got really excited thinking this is it. This is why I'm drawn to the inland waterways. I used to think perhaps it was because of my granddad, because he worked at the London docks from the age of 14, checking, weighing and unloading and loading goods that came in on the boats. But when I went back further to my granddad's granddad, I discovered that he was a waterman. Watermen carry people across the River Thames, which at the time of great-great-grandfather George was a dumping ground for London's cesspits and factories. Because roads were slow and there were few bridges, hiring a waterman to row you across the Thames was by far the quickest way to travel. That bridge we've just gone through was near a little woodlands, One of the people who helped restore that woodlands was a guy called Robert Swain. And Robert Swain is a prolific writer. Well, he was a prolific writer. He died in 2022 and there's a bench dedicated to him up there. But I would like to stop in Carnforth bookshop and see if they've got any of his books. I'd like to go and do that. But what also got me really excited about my ancestry was discovering that great-great-grandfather George's wife was born in Ireland. So there's a connection to my roots to Ireland. So I really want to explore that when I go over to Ireland to find out a little bit more about that side of the family. A wonderful thing about living in a ditch is you're so close to all the canal side plants. It's also really odd about my great-great-great-grandfather George Mitchell being a waterman and rowing, because the other day when I was rowing our little cygnet along the Glasson branch, I know I was rowing around in circles a lot of the time, and I'm not saying I'm a great rower, but it felt like, whoa, this is good. I actually feel quite comfortable rowing. So maybe it's all because of that, and I might have to put that skill into action where we're going. And that is because I really want to stay in Carnforth, but there's a bit of a problem with staying in Carnforth. The problem is the moorings that are just about deep enough are sandwiched between a petrol station and a pub. Then with the busy A6 close by, I'm worried it's going to be a bit noisy. I can feel every lump and bump of the canal here. What I'm doing is I'm coming off the engine and just floating until it brings me off the edges rather than using the propulsion of the engine. I don't know if that's the right way to navigate a ditch, but that's how I'm managing to navigate at the moment, getting lined up and then turning the engine back on. I'd like to go to Carnforth because I'd like to go and do the brief encounter experience at the station there, because that's where the brief encounter station scenes were filmed. It's a really important landmark. And also I want to visit the bookshop. Gareth recommended me this bookshop, and then use the station at Carnforth to travel around the amazing coastline and nature reserves in this area. So it's really important for me that I'd like to stay nearer to Carnforth as possible. But the issue is the actual mooring spot. I love The Brief Encounter. I think it's a gorgeous film, but there's two things that annoy me slightly. I've got a problem with them, to be fair.
The first one is when Laura is on the train dreaming of an exciting life with Dr. Alec.
I saw us travelling far away together, all the places I've always longed to go. I saw us leaning on the rail of a ship, looking at the sea and the stars, standing on a tropical beach in the moonlight with the palm trees sighing above us. Then the palm trees changed into those pollarded willows by the canal just before the level crossing. And all the silly dreams disappeared.
All the silly dreams disappeared. Laura, the canal is a dream. It's a dream lifestyle. All the silly dreams disappeared. And then there's something else worse than that.
That'll be sevenpence. Take the tea to the table, Beryl.
I'll carry the buns. You must eat one of these, fresh this morning.
Very fattening.
I don't hold with such foolishness.
They do look good, I must say.
One of my earliest passions in life. I've never outgrown it.
But he leaves without eating it. And then Laura could have eaten too. What a waste.
Okay. It's a beautiful evening, isn't it, Seth?
Even though it's quieter than expected, I want to see if there's a tucked away mooring spot.
Now, at the moment, I'm doing sourpause.
But rather than risk taking Alice Grace and not being able to turn back, I'm going to summon up the skills of great-great-grandfather George.
Let's not hit the boats.
And row between this section.
It's very peaceful. I mean, it's all very shallow in this section, but we're going to keep going.
Life as a waterman on the River Thames was hard, as they had to battle strong tides, heavy traffic and freezing winters, as well as live with the constant threat of cholera, bronchial sickness and drowning.
I'm at the same level as the midges dancing on the surface of the water. It's beautiful, isn't it, Seth? Can't get the boat in here though. It's far too shallow.
Often these canals seem ditch-like, but they very rarely smell.
We're slowly leaving the sun behind because we're in a cutting in the ditch.
And in my book about the Lancaster Canal, it said the boat people would have a good wash in it at the end of a long day's work. And while I wouldn't recommend washing in it today, the fact that it's full of fish and otters live here, as well as the diverse vegetation on its banks, show that it's actually quite a clean environment.
That is beautiful. Oh. Oh my goodness.
Well, we tried. It's been a lovely row, but there's nowhere else to moor. I'm quite used to that spot now. So tomorrow we're going to go take a train to Arnside. We're going to have a little look at the Brief Encounter exhibition at Carnforth Railway Station. I've decided I'm going to have a brief encounter of my own at Carnforth Station. Ready? Yeah! Okay, stay there. Okay, good girl. We did it.
The exterior and platform scenes of Brief Encounter were filmed at this station in 1945 between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning, in order that the busy wartime railway station could operate normally during the day. It couldn't be filmed in London because of the bright lights of filming and the blackout restrictions there. The slopes at Carnforth also allowed actress Celia Johnson to run smoothly without having to navigate any steps.
What I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk the length of this platform with Zafar whilst waiting for our train to go to Arnside to film the viaduct with the train going over the top of it. I'm going to look for some nature and try and have a brief encounter with something wildlifey. Oh, pigeon. Right away. Pigeon. 2 pigeons. This is exciting. It's not a pigeon, it's a jackdaw. I thought it was a pigeon. It's small. That was like seconds. We had 2 jackdaws. I thought they were pigeons, but no, they're jackdaws. Right, moving very slowly along this platform.
I think it's like the Herb Robert.
Sheep.
Oh, young herring, oh, look.
Quite a lot, isn't there, when you think about it? You just don't come to the station. Oh, that's evening primrose. Oh, that yellow is evening primrose. So this whole track has just been completely taken over by the wild plants. Oh, see if you got knocked out by a butterfly then. There's a tortoiseshell down there, tortoiseshell butterfly. Small tortoiseshell. White-tailed bumble. Oh. Or buff-tailed. Those two are so hard to tell the difference. Oh, I'm going buff-tailed. Train's coming.
waiting for the tidal bore.
And then there we are, witnessing the complete opposite to the slow-moving shallows we call home. The unpredictable shifting sands and racing tides of the River Kent estuary. Faster than a galloping horse, impossible to outrun and highly unpredictable.
It's incredible. It's just unbelievable.
Grandad, take a picture. It's already come off. Come here. Come in over here, Grandad.
Then beside the natural wonder of the tidal bore, the 50 piers of the Arnside viaduct carry the furnace line like telemons across the flooding Kent sands. Which is the safest way to get across this treacherous terrain that fills up in a matter of minutes, and when the tide is out should only ever be crossed on foot with an official king's guide. Give me the stagnant ditch with all its bugs and greenness any day.
I've got to explain that it's dark in here because it's very hot outside today and it's noisy in here. Well, it's not noisy to be honest with you, but that noise you can hear is the aircon machine.
This isn't paid promotion, so I can tell you that this works. It pumps out the hot air and blows in the cold air. We run ours off the lithium battery, which lasts for about 3 to 6 hours depending on the settings we use. But you can run it off the mains if you're on shoreline or if you've got a better battery capacity. To help with the machine, we close off the internal doors of the living space and all the windows and hatches are shut.
The biggest difference I find is the humidity level. So it doesn't feel humid in here. It really is a dehumidifier. And Zephyr is my good thermometer gauge because she's not panting at all. And Labradors, especially old Labradors, will start panting in 23 degrees or 20 degrees even, the older Labradors. She's not doing any panting in here whatsoever. So she's a really good gauge. Hello, we're just talking about you. Just talking about you, Zeph. You're not panting at all, are you? Is it nice in here? It's hot outside today, isn't it? Good girl. Now let me explain about the cakes.
I went back to the Brief Encounter cafe at the railway station.
2, please.
That'll be 7pence.
I'll carry the buns.
But they didn't have any buns, so I plomped for a blueberry muffin instead.
I'm excited about the cake. Just spilled tea everywhere. Sorry, Sam. Sorry, Sam. be wondering if I got to Carnforth Bookshop. Well, I did get to Carnforth Bookshop. It's amazing there, and I really recommend it if you're in the area. Thank you, Gareth, for that tip. And I managed to get Robert Swain's book. I also bought two books about poetry, but Robert Swain used to go to Carnforth Bookshop, and he used to go up the first level, then up to the second level, and he used to use the old reference books in order to help him produce this and his other books that he's done. So definitely worth a visit in that shop.
A Ditch Woman's Song. Gull in the guttering, egret on the estuary, swamp chicken chickie in the ditch, midge nibbling from its rock, poking from the shallow's top, sewed in a line of lidded stitch. Oregano salsify, willow herb and hoverfly, buzzing by the bristles brush and itch, teeming with greenery, dreaming of its scenery, my gloriously boreless boggy ditch.